Amazing life cycles. Liam was tying his shoes on the porch when he noticed something strange hanging from the railing, a small, jade-green capsule about the size of a jelly bean, dotted with tiny gold spots. A thin silk thread held it to the wood, and it swayed gently in the breeze. Noah! Come look at this! Noah crouched down and studied it with wide eyes. A slow smile spread across his face. That's a chrysalis, he said. A caterpillar built this around itself. And right now, inside this tiny capsule, something incredible is happening, maybe the most amazing transformation in all of nature. What kind of transformation? Liam asked. The kind you have to see to believe. That night, the telescope's golden glow carried them to a sun-drenched meadow filled with milkweed plants, tall stalks with broad leaves and clusters of pink flowers. It was midsummer, and the air was thick with the hum of bees. The monarch, a complete transformation. A monarch butterfly landed on a milkweed leaf. Its wings looked like stained glass windows, bright orange panes bordered in black and dotted with white. With careful precision, it laid a single egg on the underside of the leaf. The egg was tiny, smaller than a pinhead, pale white and ribbed like a miniature lemon. The telescope can speed up time, Noah said. Watch. Time rushed forward. Within 4 days the egg hatched, and out crawled a caterpillar no bigger than a grain of rice, striped in black, white, and yellow. 5 times as it outgrew each one, like a child outgrowing clothes. By the end it was 2 inches long and had grown to nearly 3,000 times its birth weight. That's like a 7-pound baby growing to 21,000 pounds in 2 weeks, Noah said. Heavier than a school bus. Liam's jaw dropped. From eating leaves? Just leaves. Then the caterpillar did something unexpected. It crawled to the underside of a leaf, spun a small silk pad, and hung upside down in a J shape. Its skin split one last time, but instead of revealing a bigger caterpillar, what appeared was smooth, jade-green chrysalis dotted with gold spots. Exactly like the one on their porch railing. Here's the part that amazes me most, Noah said quietly. Inside that chrysalis, the caterpillar doesn't just sprout wings. It dissolves. It breaks down into a kind of rich, living soup, most of its body completely liquefies. Then, from that soup, entirely new structures form: wings, compound eyes, a coiled tongue for sipping nectar, 6 delicate legs. It literally takes itself apart and rebuilds from scratch. The same animal? Liam whispered. The very same. Scientists call this complete metamorphosis, from the Greek words meta, meaning change, and morphe, meaning form. A complete change of form. 10 days later, the chrysalis turned transparent, and they could see orange and black wings folded tightly inside. It split open, and a monarch butterfly slowly pulled itself free, its wings crumpled and wet. It hung in the air, pumping fluid into its wings until they unfolded to their full 4-inch span, gleaming, perfect, brand new. Then, with a first tentative flutter, it lifted off the leaf and flew. But the monarch's journey was just beginning. Noah told Liam about the great monarch migration. Every autumn, millions of monarchs fly up to 3,000 miles from Canada and the northern United States all the way to a handful of mountain forests in central Mexico. They navigate using the position of the sun and an internal magnetic compass, and not a single one has ever made the trip before. Their great-great-grandparents did, for generations ago. Yet they find the exact same trees. Nobody fully understands how they know the way, Noah admitted. It's one of the great unsolved mysteries of nature. The frog, 2 lives in 1. The telescope carried them to a quiet pond ringed with cattails. The surface was still and glassy in the morning light, and near the edge, clumps of something that looked like clear jelly were floating among the reeds. Inside each blob of jelly were hundreds of tiny black dots. Frog eggs, Noah said. Also called frog spawn. A single frog can lay up to 4,000 eggs at once. Most won't survive. Fish, birds, and insects eat them. But the ones that do will go through a transformation almost as dramatic as the butterflies. Time sped up. Within a week the black dots wriggled free and hatched into tadpoles, tiny dark creatures with round heads, long tails, and no legs at all. They breathed through gills, like fish, and swam by waving their tails back and forth. Right now, these tadpoles are more like fish than frogs, Noah said. They live entirely underwater, breathe water through gills, and eat algae by scraping it off rocks with tiny teeth. But as weeks passed, extraordinary changes began. First, two small hind legs sprouted near the base of the tail. Then front legs appeared. The tail began to shrink, its material absorbed back into the body for energy, nature wasting nothing. Most remarkably, the gills began to disappear and lungs grew in their place. The wide, fish-like mouth reshaped itself into the broad gape of a frog. The digestive system completely reorganized, from plant eating to insect eating. It's changing from a water animal into a land animal, Liam said in disbelief. While it's alive. That's exactly right. The word amphibian comes from Greek words meaning double life. Frogs literally live two completely different lives, one in the water as a swimming tadpole, and one on land as a hopping frog. New body, new diet, new way of breathing, new way of moving. A fully formed frog hopped onto a lily pad, its powerful hind legs folded beneath it, its golden eyes blinking slowly. It looked nothing like the tiny black dot it had been just weeks before. Its long tongue shot out faster than the human eye could follow and snatched a fly from the air. One animal, two completely different lives, Liam murmured. The salmon, the greatest journey home. Now let me show you the most epic life cycle of all, Noah said. The telescope carried them to a cold, crystal-clear mountain stream in Alaska. Water tumbled over smooth, mossy stones, and tall evergreen trees lined the banks, their roots trailing into the current. The air smelled of pine and wet earth. In the gravel of the streambed, a female sockeye salmon was using her powerful tail to sweep out a shallow nest called a red. She laid thousands of tiny orange eggs, which a male then fertilized. The parents, their bodies battered and worn from an extraordinary journey, died within days, their silver scales faded, their purpose complete. That seems so sad, Liam said quietly. Watch, Noah said. Their story isn't over. Bears ambled to the stream and pulled the dead salmon from the water, carrying them deep into the forest to eat. What they didn't finish decomposed into the soil, feeding the trees with rich ocean nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus that the salmon had carried in their bodies from the Pacific. Scientists have found these ocean nutrients in the tree rings of forests miles from any river. Trees along salmon streams grow up to 3 times faster than trees without them. The salmon's death feeds the forest, Noah said. And the forest shelters the stream that raises the next generation. It's all connected. Time sped up. The eggs hatched. Tiny salmon called Fry, with big dark eyes and almost transparent bodies, wriggled out of the gravel and began their lives in the cold, clear water. They grew for a year or two, feeding on insects and hiding from kingfishers and trout. Then something changed, their bodies began to transform. Their coloring shifted from mottled river camouflage to sleek, silvery ocean scales. Their kidneys and gills adapted to handle salt water instead of fresh. They were becoming smolts, and an instinct older than memory was telling them it was time to go. The young salmon swam downstream, through rivers that grew wider and wider, until they reached the vast Pacific Ocean. There they spent 1 to 4 years feeding on krill and small fish, traveling thousands of miles across the open sea, growing from a few inches to 3 feet long and 10 pounds heavy. Then their internal clock triggered the return. Guided by an astonishing sense of smell, salmon can detect a single drop of their home stream water diluted in millions of gallons. They navigated back. Thousands of miles across the Pacific. Up the coast. Into the river mouth. Against powerful currents, leaping over rapids and waterfalls, their bodies turning deep red as they burned their final reserves of energy. Driven by an unstoppable urge to return to the exact gravel bed where they were born. The same stream? Liam asked. Out of all the streams in all of Alaska? The very same one. Every stream has a unique chemical signature, a particular mix of minerals, plants, and soil. No two streams smell exactly alike. And a salmon never forgets the smell of home. The salmon that survived the journey laid their eggs in the same gravel where they themselves had hatched. And then, like their parents before them, they died, their bodies feeding the bears, the eagles, the trees, and the next generation. The great circle turned once more. The telescope brought them home. The stars were out, and a cool breeze carried the sound of crickets through the open window. Liam went to the porch and looked at the small green chrysalis still hanging from the railing. He studied its tiny gold dots, imagining the extraordinary transformation happening right now in the darkness inside, the dissolving, the rebuilding, the new life taking shape. "Everything changes," he said softly. "Everything," Noah agreed from the doorway. "Caterpillars become butterflies. Tadpoles become frogs. A tiny fish born in a mountain stream crosses an entire ocean and finds its way home. Nothing in nature stays the same, and that's what makes it so beautiful." Liam touched the chrysalis very gently with one fingertip. "Good night, little butterfly," he whispered. "See you when you're ready."